I'm Bethany Klug, and I'm with the Heartland community of mindful living. We practice in the Plum Village tradition of Zen Master Thich Nhat Hanh. We meet on Monday nights at 7 in Myrtle Fillmore Chapel. We are hosting a retreat next month. It's called Realizing True Love, Meeting Difficulty with Loving Kindness, Freedom, and non-discrimination. There's flyers for it out on the counter. It's September 28th and 29th. It's non-residential. And we were really blessed. We originally thought we were only going to have one teacher, Fern Dorestein, a former nun at Plum Village, who is now a lay person, mother of 3 children. Her husband's coming, too. So we also get Michael Saborski, whom we've had before. We've actually had both of them before. He's also a former monk and a very skilled teacher as well. Fern only recently began teaching. She had to overcome extreme shyness. She's a lovely person, and now I just feel so blessed that we're able to have her. And then we put her with Michael, and it's like way better together. So usually we ask a teacher to teach what's up for them because we feel they do better when they do that. But Michael and Fern also wanted to know what was up for our community, and I shared the following things with them. We have several people dealing with deaths of loved ones. Many are challenged with caring for aging parents. We have women from an addiction recovery program that are rotating through our Sangha. They deal with, most commonly they say, anxiety and physical pain. And then many of us have family and friends who have really become hostage to the climate of fear and hatred that's present in our country right now. And it's really baffling and challenging for our practice. So, they're so skilled. The way out is realizing true love and making true love your constant practice, your touchstone. The Buddha has given us many ways to practice true love. In June, when I spoke, I spoke about the 4 Brahma Viharas, or the 4 immeasurable minds. Vihara means abode or dwelling place, and Brahma means source of love. So the Brahma Viharas, when we practice them, we turn into a dwelling place for the source of love. We can really, with practice, become that. And they're called immeasurable because as we practice them, they grow and they grow. Love is one of the few things that can grow and grow and grow and never stop. So they are love, not I love hamburgers, but when you understand someone or something so deeply, you want them in your presence, you want them in your life, and you don't expect anything in return. You love them. Compassion, that's when we develop compassion when we've practiced our mindful breathing, deep listening, deep looking, and we've developed a certain amount of understanding, calm, and strength, that suffering it doesn't overwhelm us. It doesn't knock us off balance. Instead, we retain this clarity of mind, calmness, and strength so that we can act to transform the difficult situation. The 4th Brahma Vihara is joy. That's a joy, it's not excitement. It's filled with peace and contentment. A flower fresh, is a source of joy. Check the gardens out there. Source of joy. Equanimity. This is not indifference. Equanimity is an understanding so deep that it leads to non-discrimination. We can embrace everything. We don't judge it. We don't push it aside or try to escape from it. Another practice is the 6 Paramitas. Thich Nhat Hanh describes the Chinese character for paramita as crossing over to the other shore. So the paramitas are actual practices that help us cross from the shore of suffering to the shore of freedom. And I'm not going to dwell into all of them. I'm going to dwell on one of them for the rest of this talk, Dana Paramita, which is generosity, giving. But there's also Shila, which is ethics, or the precepts or mindfulness trainings. Kshanti, which is inclusiveness, it's like mountain solid. We can just take on the suffering around us and we can transform it. We have a great capacity to hold suffering. Virya, diligence, energy, perseverance, how we remain open and stay with our practice. Dhyana, which is meditation, and prajna, which is a big fruit of the practice, wisdom, insight, and understanding. So, at our upcoming retreat, we are asking everybody, we're giving a challenge to everyone to deepen their practice of true love by practicing the first paramita very deeply. What we're asking is we're asking everyone to rethink the nature of exchange and contemplate what exchange or an economy based on the Buddhist teachings, what that could look like. And definitely requires true love. And we call it the gift economy. So I have a question for you. What would you pay for a retreat if no price were set? Now this can get really confusing, because doesn't everything have a price? And if you don't know what the price is, what are you going to pay, right? Maybe. And then there's the temptation, well, if there's no price, oh wow, this is an opportunity to get a really good deal. And we know how some people make recreation out of getting a good deal, which then kind of invites a free ride. And then you're like, how on earth are they going to sustain this? But I want you to stop and imagine what exchange could look like if instead of being based on one of humanity's most base emotions, greed, and the fear, separation, and lack that go with it, imagine it being based on one of humanity's highest emotions, love, and the trust, connection, and the abundance that goes with it. So, I want you to listen to this statement a few times and ask yourself what feels better. Greed, fear, separation, and lack. Or trust, love, trust, connection, and abundance. One more time. Greed, fear, separation, and lack. Or love, trust, connection, and abundance. Show of hands. Greed, fear, separation, and lack. Love, trust, connection, and abundance. I thought so. And some people are like, no, okay, whatever. More hands went up. No hands went up for the first one. But here's the difficulty. A lot of the wounds that we carry come because our attempts to live in love, trust, abundance, and connection either didn't work out in some way or were taken advantage of or somehow violated. And so, what do? We go back to fear, separation, lack, and greed, holding on to things. So, what does it take? It takes a lot of compassion. It takes compassion for ourselves and those who have hurt us. It also takes wisdom and courage to hold this vision of love, trust, connection, and abundance, and to free ourselves from the suffering that greed, fear, separation, and lack creates in us. This is an act of generosity to ourselves, as well as to our community and our families and the world. So when we think about paramita, the paramitas can move us from the shore of greed, fear, separation, and lack over to the shore of love, trust, connection, and abundance. And I love it when we get a shortcut, because Thich Nhat Hanh says, if you practice generosity, you practice all 6 paramitas at the same time. So, I'd like to do a little comparison in terms of what's a retreat like held, or what's the energy of the greed economy versus the love or gift economy regarding retreats. Well, one, if you can't afford it in the greed economy, if you can't afford it, you can't have it, or you have to ask for assistance. And there are often difficulties with asking for assistance. One, I know our Sangha has always offered scholarships, but people will come to us and say, I can't afford to come. I'm like, great, have a scholarship, and they won't apply. And some may say, well, and I think I've said this myself, I guess I just need to learn to ask for help. And I may be true, but we've got to realize that there are emotional barriers that prevent people from asking for help. And that asking for help creates a power dynamic that emphasizes fear, separation, and lack. And that this asking for help can be, it can create a situation that can be exploitative, meaning the one who can't afford it must ask the one who can. Application processes for scholarships often emphasize lack. You have to explain why you can't pay the full fee or what your need is. And then there can be a fear of rejection that goes along with that, because often scholarship funds are limited. Scholarship recipients are often required to work, where those who can afford it can choose to volunteer. And I know it's hard to find volunteers to run retreats, done many of those, but again, it can be exploitative. So, another point is that when money determines who attends our retreats, it becomes a very homogeneous group of people attending the retreats. We really lose a diversity of experiences and perspectives. We often lose young people. We often lose people of color. We often lose differently abled people. So the gift economy turns the market economy on its head. It relies on the insight of inner being, that nothing and no one sits by itself alone. Inner being is a word coined by Thich Nhat Hanh, to say that we are supported by an interdependent web of life that goes back generations to the beginnings of the earth. So this notion of a self-made person really fails to acknowledge the insight of inner being. That it really fails to acknowledge that there are conditions that make some people more successful economically than others, such as the skills of our parents, the teachers we had, institutions that may have supported us, the wealth that was handed down from generation to generation, and privileges that we may have been born into. So what this gift economy or love economy asks us to do is to look very deeply with the eyes of interbeing at the support that we have received throughout our lives, and even the lives of our ancestors before us. Then out of gratitude, love, and a deep wish for all beings to benefit from this practice, give accordingly. Some will give more and some will give less. And this is the way the Buddhist teachings have spread from country to country and continent to continent over the past 2,500 years. And so we're offering this retreat in this spirit. We didn't set a fee, we didn't even set a suggested donation. What we've done is that we've shared our estimated expenses, and we plan to report on how it works out, because we feel transparency is essential to a healthy gift economy. And we already see some people kind of they're challenged by it. I think I had somebody ask, well, so how many people typically attend a retreat? Like he's trying to calculate what the fair price was. And other people just asking if their donation was enough. And I won't answer these questions. We're accepting donations at the retreat, so the attendees can decide then and there through their experience what they want to give. And we believe Kansas City mindfulness practitioners are ready for this. I'm not suggesting you put your house on the market or run your business on the gift economy model yet, okay? Disclaimer, this is an experiment with people who have been practicing for a long time and that have the potential to put this into practice. Now, I must say that, of course, we teach best what we need to learn, and this has been something I have been learning for a long time. And I want to credit East Bay Meditation, Larry Young, and the book Awakening Together, called Awakening Together, The Spiritual Practice of Inclusivity and Community by Larry Yang. At East Bay Meditation Center, gift economics is key to creating spaces for a diverse community, people of color, non-hetero, differently abled people, who can be excluded or not feel comfortable in our communities. I would also say an inspiration has been Unity Temple. Unity Temple, this event is offered on a gift economics basis. And so I ask you to look deeply and say, how do I benefit from this? How do I want to make this available to others when you donate today? And then finally, I'm going to credit my massage therapist, Carol, who woke me up. She charges far below the market rate for her massage. Her stated rate is far below the market rate for her massages. And I asked her about that one day, and she says, well, if I raise my rates, then there's a group of my clients that won't be able to afford to see me, and I want to be able to see them. But she says, I have this other group of clients that pay me far above what I charge. And he says, I'm totally taken care of. Carol's in the gift economy. And it was just like, boom, wake up. Yeah. So I hope you'll kind of take this into your daily life. I hope you'll support us in offering the retreat in this way. And like I said, there's flyers out front if the retreat interests you. Thank you.